Exactly 234 years ago, Poland adopted the first constitution in Europe and the second in the world. The main ceremonies were traditionally held in Warsaw's Castle Square. This was the last time President Andrzej Duda took part in them as president.
Pochylnie odczytana zostanie preambuła Konstytucji 3 maja.
Hello, May Dawn, shine to our Polish land. These words of an old and beautiful patriotic song perhaps best capture the solemnity of today's holiday.
To jest Dzień Polskiej Dumy.
This is a day of Polish pride, always great pride in our historical achievements, great pride in our great country, great pride in our great statehood of more than 1,000 years. The May 3rd Constitution was an attempt to save the statehood of the First Republic of Poland, but then the forces that collaborated with our mortal enemies under the guise of restoring the rule of law led to the collapse of the state of our ancestors. Andrzej Duda pointed out that it is the president, as the guardian of the Constitution, who especially has to keep an eye on politicians so that they, like the Haggardists, do not destroy the foundations of our state.
W przypadkach, gdy ktoś będzie sprzeniewierzał się polskiej konstytucji,
In cases where someone embezzles from the Polish constitution, Polish law, when they break the law, no matter who they are, they will be obliged to bring it to their attention and say loudly that the law is being broken, that they are acting illegally, that they are violating the rules, that they are destroying Polish democracy, and that this is a violation of the rule of law. President Andrzej Duda also recalled a speech by the late President Lech Kaczyński on May 3, 2009. Although 16 years have passed, the problems are virtually the same. In Poland, there was also talk of an alleged threat to democracy not so long ago. In fact, it was a threat to privileges that were wrong, privileges of people who did not act for Poland. They acted for themselves. And it happened under different conditions that our compatriots believed. They believed that, in fact, democracy was under threat. It was not. It wasn't. And I say this specifically today. It wasn't for 1 second. It was certainly threatened by the privileges of those who, once again, I will repeat it, acted in the name of their own interests and not in the name of Poland's interest. Poland stands at the threshold of presidential elections. As early as May 18, we will decide who will be the new guardian of the Constitution. The problem is that the liberal democracy that dominates Europe is getting stronger and stronger in more countries. In both Romania and France, the main right-wing candidates have been prevented from running. Hence, there are concerns about the election in Poland.
najważniejsze jest
The most important thing is for us to be able to choose fairly, for these elections to be conducted in a fair manner, for the result to be objective and true, that they are well and fairly conducted, and that they can be peacefully recognized. Today's ceremony proved to be an excellent occasion for awarding the Order of the White Eagle. President Andrzej Duda honored anti-communist opposition activist Jerzy Kropiwnicki and artist Janusz Kapustka.
Jestem bardzo dumny z tego, że mogłem
I am very proud to have been able to give today to decorate with these highest Polish decorations two visionaries. I don't hesitate to say it, two visionaries. This is the oldest Polish decoration and the highest Polish decoration.
dwóch wizjonerów.
We carry the center of the world in our heads, but if we think it is somewhere else, we have to go there. Also, the most important thing I have to say is we have the center of the world here. Even the Pope can be invoked. Let your spirit descend. This spirit has descended. We don't have to go to the Holy Land. We have our own Holy Land. The 3rd of May is celebrated all over Poland. In Kraków, a solemn mass for the intentions of the homeland was celebrated at Wawel Castle, and a patriotic parade passed through the city center. In Zakopane, the annual parade with a 100-meter white and red flag passed through the city center, and a mass for the intention of Poland was celebrated at the sanctuary of the Holy Family on Krupówki Street. It is known that everyone celebrates in an individual way, but it is best to do it in a community. So definitely a mass for the intentions of the homeland, in addition to a parade, the 3rd of May celebrations, and spending it together with the community. No matter where, all participants are united by the same motives, namely, love for the homeland and our rich history. Let's be proud of the Polish past, because there is a lot to be proud of. If Putin does not agree to the U.S. peace proposal, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky will receive more than ever. This is a declaration by U.S. President Donald Trump, who is speaking tough today, either peace or full escalation. The Kharkiv region and the effect of the Russian attack. Once again, the victims are civilians. 2 people lost their lives. More than 40 were wounded. The Kremlin is sending a clear signal to the world, any negotiations only on Moscow's terms. However, this is something neither Kiev nor Washington will accept.
Now that each side knows what the other's terms for peace are, it's going to be up to them to come to an agreement and stop this brutal conflict. It's not going anywhere, Brett. It's not going to end anytime soon.
Ukraine was ready, even at the price of accepting the Russian occupation of Crimea. The Americans made it clear. Now it's Russia's time. But in response, the Kremlin sent more missiles and drones on Ukrainian cities.
I think we know where Ukraine is and we know where Russia is right now and where Putin is. They're still far apart. They're closer, but they're still far apart. And it's going to take a real breakthrough here very soon to make this possible. Or I think the president is going to have to make a decision about how much more time we're going to dedicate to this.
It seems that Donald Trump has no intention of devoting a minute more to negotiations that lead nowhere. His latest ultimatum is the toughest yet from his side.
Got to make a deal. I would tell Putin, if you don't make a deal, we're going to give him a lot. We're going to give him more than they ever got.
It is known that the first of the announced large package of sanctions on Russia is expected to reach the president's desk in the coming days. Whether he will sign them remains to be seen. But there are already moves showing a change in rhetoric toward the Kremlin. According to unofficial information, the Americans are transporting F-16 fighter jets, which have been withdrawn from service to Ukraine. On top of that, the first large package of military aid to Kiev is being prepared. According to some observers, one of the key moments for the American perception of the conflict in Ukraine was this meeting. It was when a breakthrough conversation took place within the walls of the Vatican, away from advisors and the media. We are looking forward to other outcomes of it. It was a meaningful meeting, and President Trump and I made the most of every minute. I thank him for that. And once again, I thank both our teams, Ukrainian and American. In addition to this, Donald Trump's own entourage and a range of opinions, including those of U.S. allies, also matter, influencing the White House administration's perception, not only of the conflict in Ukraine, but also of Russia itself, whose actions for many of its neighbors have been painfully predictable for centuries. Elections are a celebration of democracy, but on the condition that they are conducted on a level playing field. Romanians were forced to elect their president for a second time. Their previous decision did not please the left liberal elites or the Romanian court, which invalidated the first-round victory of conservative candidate Călin Georgescu under the pretext of alleged Russian service interference. According to independent Romanian journalists, the accusations were made up. A revote will be held on Sunday. I honestly don't know what to expect. I'm afraid that they will mess with the elections again. But I hope our country will come out on top. The Romanian right did not allow itself to be marginalized. Another conservative candidate, George Simion, has won the trust of voters and, against hostile forces, dreams of restoring the rule of law and democracy in Romania, he said in a special interview with TV Republica.
Mamy nadzieję, że uwolnimy się od tej dyktatury, która zapanowała 6 grudnia, kiedy to mieliśmy ogromny cios dla demokracji. I to jest powód, dla którego jestem teraz oficjalnym kandydatem i prowadzę w sondażach.
Huge blow to democracy. And this is the reason I'm now an official candidate and I am leading in the polls because the Romanian people do not
Romania has been removed from the U.S. visa waiver program until full democracy is restored in the country. That's why Polish conservative politicians are supporting Simeon, who they believe is a guarantor of legitimacy. European conservatives and reformists, Polish MEPs, including myself, have been to Romania. We supported Mr. Simeon. We think he has all the predispositions to be a good president. And later, we could work well with him for the good of the European Union and two important countries in Europe, Poland and Romania. A victory by a right-wing candidate in Romania could also send a signal to other European countries where elections will soon be held. The left liberals in the European Union do not want George Simeon as president of Romania because he will simply stick with the freedom factions, with the countries that want subjectivity in the European Union, and this subjectivity is not wanted by Brussels, Paris, or Berlin. Hence aggressive and, what's worse, anti-democratic actions. French presidential election favorite Marine Le Pen was prevented from running due to her party's mistakes in hiring assistants in the European Parliament. Similar offenses were also committed by leftist parties, but their representatives did not have any similar problems. The fight for justice continues. I thank my compatriots for their support. Together, we will prevail, regardless of who represents us. More and more German voters want Alternative for Germany to represent their vote. On Friday, German counterintelligence declared the right-wing party an extremist organization. The AfD is a threat to the democratic order. It is a party that discriminates against certain social groups.
Both sides just have to agree to it.
In response, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio called on Germany to reverse the controversial decision. A close associate of Donald Trump assessed that the German decision is tyranny in disguise. He added that the real extremism is not the AfD, but Germany's immigration policy, which the AfD clearly opposes. And here we come to the point. Right-wing candidates, no matter where they run, want to stop the madness of illegal immigration and leftist ideology. They want fair rules in the European Union and equal rights.
Mamy w tej chwili powszechny w całej Unii Europejskiej zarówno.
At the moment, we have widespread pressure throughout the European Union, both in the countries of Central Europe and in the leading countries of Western Europe, to make life difficult for conservative candidates by administrative methods, and in fact, to do everything to prevent them from winning elections. The sly plans of the left liberal elites, however, may be thwarted by voters. In Romania, George Simeon is the favorite, while Marine Le Pen continues to gain popularity in France, and Alternative for Germany has leveled with the Christian Democrats in the latest poll for the first time ever.